guess just looking back on the film with South Carolina, and I'm assuming you guys were off yesterday, but what's kind of going to be the emphasis in practice this week leading up to Tennessee game?
Conference races are marathon. People talk about college basketball seasons being long, and they are, but when you start your conference slate, there's just not a lot of time to feel sorry for yourself. You've got to turn the page quickly, try to learn, get some growth, and then get back to it. And that's what we've done. We got back fairly early for a road game on a Saturday, and did what we had to do for film, et cetera, as a staff, and then quickly turned the page, to get into Tennessee. And we didn't do anything with the guys, like you said, yesterday, and they're already at it this morning, and we'll get going as a group here in a couple hours and kind of reset the table for the week of what we're doing practice-wise, meeting-wise, et cetera. But most importantly, just get them to refocused on Tennessee and trying to do what we need to do to put them in the best position possible to try to win the game.
We'll stay front middle with Justin, and then we'll go back to the second row and Jacob.
Chris, going off of that, I guess how do you keep the guys from having this, I guess, maybe here we go again mentality when it comes to a slow SEC start, just given the quality of teams coming up in the next week and a half?
We lost one game. It's a long season. We're not thinking like that at all. I don't think they will be either. I mean, we don't talk about who we play, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh game. We talk about, who we play next, and that's it. And that's all our staff's focused on, and it's going to be all that our players are focused on. And we've got a veteran group, and we've got a good group of people, and they get it. They know that Wednesday is an unbelievable challenge, but at the same time, what a great opportunity to have, a top 5, top 10 team in the country and your home court, with a chance to, make, win a heck of a game. So our focus will solely be on preparing for Tennessee and trying to get our guys ready.
Coach, what are you seeing early from Tennessee so far as you prepare?
Yeah, typical, Coach Rick Barnes' team, very well coached. Defensively, I think they're top 2 or 3 in the country per Ken Pom, and that's pretty typical for one of his teams. And, they've done a great job in the portal and added some key pieces that have made them a little harder to guard, in my opinion, offensively. They're maybe not quite as big around the basket as they were, I guess, last year, but they're still plenty big, and they got plenty of depth, and they hold their own or better than that around the basket. But offensively, they present some challenges because they play different. They play a little old school with a lot more screening and cutting than you see in today's game with all the spread offense and the 5 out and the ball screens and the dribble drive. And they do a lot more staggers and playing, off that and reading the defense, et cetera. So it'll be a different prep week than normal, but, we'll have to play our best.
We'll go front row right to Benjamin.
Yeah, following up on that, Tennessee, they're right up there with the best defensive teams in the SEC, even though they've played such a strong schedule in the non-conference. So, so what's allowed them to play so well on that end of the floor?
Well, it starts with just guarding the basketball. They have great pride individually in guarding the ball and not giving up angles and not giving up penetration. And it starts out front with, Ziegler, and he just, he sets the tone, and he's as good an on-ball defender as you're going to see in college basketball, and he's relentless, and he's in big-time shape, and he can do it, for 35, 40 minutes if need be. And certainly that's not the only thing that they do well. They got great spacing defensively. They got plenty of rim protection. They're just very well schooled. They're very well taught. They're connected on defense, and they take great pride in it, and it's really hard to score against them.
Back to Paul for 2.
Tolu's now been in 2 games. Just your overall thoughts. I know he's still working to get back in a rhythm and shake some rust off, but your thoughts about him and where he was in the first SEC game compared to Bethune-Cookman?
Yeah, I mean, I think he looks pretty good considering he was, out of basketball for months. I think he's transitioned back pretty well. He knows better than I, how he feels, on the daily basis and how he feels in terms of his rhythm during the game. But, probably would have played more minutes if he hadn't gotten in foul trouble. And he's got to be careful and stay away from the silly fouls. That hurts him and us. But I think he's, transitioned back well.
And kind of more of a recruiting question, but have you been able to watch Delquan much this year, much film on him? And if you have, what have you seen from him compared to last year's junior season?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched a little, not as much as maybe some of our staff members have, but the reports that I get are all real positive. They like where he's at. They like his development in terms of being a point guard and doing all facets of the game, and we're excited that he'll be joining us.
We'll go to Danny P. on the end here to Coach's right.
Coach, I know rebounding was a major concern on Saturday. Is there a certain approach you want to take in practice this week, or was it just a matchup thing with South Carolina, or anything you can put your finger on?
Yeah, that'll be something that'll be talked about quite a bit, but it's talked about a lot daily already, so that was very disappointing. That was, in my opinion, if you had to pinpoint one reason why we didn't win the game, it was because of that. And prior to the game, I wouldn't have thought that would have been the problem. We were trending in the right direction. At the same time, so were they. I think in the last 5 or 6 games, they were sixth in the country in offensive rebounding percentage going into that game. They had strung a bunch of games together with over 40% of offensive rebounding, and we were aware of that and tried to get our guys to understand that that they were coming. They were peeling their ears back and coming to the glass, and if we didn't have physical checks and 5 guys having the mentality of doing what they got to do to get the ball off the defensive glass, that it would be a problem, and unfortunately it was. And we just went too long, too many times in that game without getting, second chance opportunities ourselves. I mean, and it wasn't just, it wasn't lack of effort. It was some lack of mental discipline of, doing your job, if you will. And it's just disappointing. I don't know if we can come up with more ways than we already have of trying to coach it and teach it better. We are very accountable when it comes to that department every single day with our video study, with our practice, and with our emphasis on it, in practice. So we'll continue to figure out, try to figure out ways to get them better. But the way this team is constructed, we have to be a good rebounding team in a league that's got a bunch of good rebounding teams, and it will be something we'll continue to talk about and work on.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go back to Justin.
Chris, going off of that, are Jimmy and Tolu guys you have to say a lot to when they have maybe games like that when it comes to rebounding, or are they more just because of their experience and how long they've been playing more self-accountable and take that next step themselves?
Yeah, as accountable as they are, I mean, I still think they need prodding and pushing and direction and motivation, and just like, I think we all do at different times. And so, yeah, I mean, they're great kids, but at the same time, I think they both know that they, need to do better. Jimmy Bell, and I love him to death. I mean, there's no way that he can play the minutes he played and get 0 rebounds. And again, it wasn't really a lack of effort. Like he had 3 or 4 opportunities where the ball was right here and it touched either 1 or 2 of his hands, and for whatever reason, he couldn't corral the ball, and that was frustrating for him and for us. But at the same time, it wasn't like he wasn't trying to get the ball, and he was just being lazy and not doing his job. It's just we've got to figure out a way to secure those loose balls, those balls that are flying in the air and they're 50-50, and we've got to do better at getting them.